Hey there, Zodiac lovers! Welcome back to Secret of the Zodiac, where we dive deep into the mysteries of astrology. Today, we're exploring something that even many astrology enthusiasts don't realize. Not all Leos are created equal. That's right. There's a fascinating divide between those born in July and those born in August. Before we dive into these cosmic differences, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a like if you're curious about the secret traits of your Leo friends, or maybe even yourself. The Leo season bridges 2 months, starting in the heat of July and extending into the golden days of August. This transition carries subtle yet powerful energies that shape the Leo personality in distinctive ways. Think about the Leos you know. Have you ever noticed how they seem to carry the same fiery essence, but express it through different flames? This isn't coincidence. It's written in the stars. When we look at traditional astrology, we often stop at the 12 zodiac signs, painting Leo with a single brush of confidence, charisma, and courage. But the universe operates with magnificent precision. The position of the sun as it travels through the Leo constellation creates nuanced influences that astrologers have observed for centuries. The July Leo emerges when the sun first enters the constellation, carrying the explosive energy of that initial contact, like the dramatic opening scene of a cosmic play. The August Leo forms under the sun's mature journey through the constellation, embodying a more refined and contemplative expression of Leo energy. Consider the seasonal metaphor. July represents high summer when the sun blazes at its most intense in the northern hemisphere. Those born under this influence tend to absorb that peak solar power, becoming walking embodiments of the sun's most radiant and expressive qualities. August, meanwhile, carries the energy of late summer, when the light remains strong but begins its subtle shift toward autumn reflection. August Leos carry this transitional essence, still unmistakably solar, but with an underlying current of depth that hints at the coming season of introspection. The ancient astrologers recognized these distinctions, assigning different decans to the Leo sign. The first decan of Leo, roughly July 23rd to August 1st, falls under pure solar rulership, amplifying classic Leo traits. The second decan, August 2nd to August 12th, brings in Jupiter's influence, adding philosophical depth and broader vision. The third decan, August 13th to August 22nd, carries Mars energy, introducing strategic thinking and calculated action to the Leo personality. These overlapping planetary influences create the subtle variations we'll explore today. What makes this topic particularly fascinating is how these differences manifest in real life. You might have found yourself confused by a Leo who doesn't quite match the typical description you've read. Perhaps they're a Leo who prefers intimate gatherings to being center stage, or maybe they're more methodical than impulsive. These seeming contradictions often find their explanation in birth month differences. Throughout human history, we've been fascinated by the connection between celestial patterns and human personality. From ancient Babylonian stargazers to modern psychological astrology, this cosmic language has evolved while maintaining its core insight that we are connected to the rhythms of the universe. The Leo distinction we're discussing today is part of that rich tradition, offering another layer of understanding to this ancient wisdom. As we explore these 8 key differences between July and August Leos, you might recognize yourself or someone close to you in these descriptions. You might finally understand why some Leos in your life seem so different from others, despite sharing the same sun sign. The beauty of astrology lies in these nuances, the delicate variations that make each of us unique while still connected to larger cosmic patterns. Let's begin our journey by examining how July and August Leos differ in their very presence and how they command attention in distinctly different ways. The first difference: July Leos embody that classic royal presence with grand gestures and dramatic flair. When a July Leo enters a room, there's an almost palpable shift in the atmosphere. The air becomes charged with their electric presence. These early season Leos carry themselves with an unmistakable regality that seems almost innate rather than cultivated. Their movements tend to be expansive and expressive, using the full range of their physical presence to communicate. A July Leo might gesture broadly while telling a story, their facial expressions animated and theatrical, their laughter booming across the room with uninhibited joy. This dramatic flair isn't an act or performance for July Leos. It's simply the natural expression of their intense inner fire. Born when the sun first enters the Leo constellation, they embody that initial burst of solar energy in its purest form. Their confidence isn't something they've learned. It's woven into the fabric of their being. Even the more introverted July Leos, yes, they do exist, carry this quality, though they might express it in more selective environments. Consider how July Leos tend to dress and present themselves, often with bold colors, statement pieces, or unique style choices that demand attention. Their homes frequently feature dramatic elements, accent walls in rich colors, impressive art pieces, or conversation-starting decor. Everything about their self-expression seems designed to leave an impression, though they rarely calculate these effects consciously. For the July Leo, standing out isn't a choice, it's an inevitability. The passionate nature of July Leos manifests in their speech patterns as well. They're the Leos most likely to use superlatives to describe experiences as amazing, incredible, or the best ever. Their storytelling contains vivid details and emotional highlights that pull listeners into their world. Even when discussing ordinary events, they infuse their narratives with a sense of drama and significance that makes others feel the importance of the moment. August Leos, in striking contrast, channel their solar power into a more focused ambition. Their fire burns just as intensely, but it's contained within a more controlled vessel. Where July Leos might scatter their brilliant light in all directions, August Leos direct theirs with precision, like a solar-powered laser rather than a fireworks display. This focused ambition gives August Leos a steadiness that can sometimes be mistaken for reserve, but it's actually a different expression of the same fundamental Leo power. The August Leo's presence is no less magnetic, but it operates with subtlety. They don't announce themselves with grand entrances. Instead, they're often noticed gradually as others in the room become increasingly aware of their quiet authority. There's something compelling about their measured energy that draws people in through curiosity rather than spectacle. An August Leo might speak less frequently in group settings, but when they do, others naturally fall silent to listen. This distinction becomes particularly evident in professional settings. July Leos often gravitate toward careers that allow for expressive leadership. They might excel as performers, motivational speakers, or in creative directorial roles where their natural flair can shine. August Leos frequently thrive in positions requiring strategic vision and sustained focus, as executives, researchers, or specialized experts where their concentrated ambition can build something substantial over time. The second difference. This brings us to our second key difference, their relationship with the spotlight. July Leos instinctively gravitate towards center stage, thriving in busy social environments where all eyes are on them. For these early season Leos, attention feels like their natural habitat, the environment in which they can fully express their authentic selves. A July Leo at a party might become the impromptu entertainment, the one suggesting group activities, or the person whose stories gather a growing circle of listeners. This comfort with attention stems from the July Leo's natural confidence in their ability to hold and direct social energy. They believe in their capacity to entertain, inspire, or lead others, and this belief becomes self-fulfilling as people respond positively to their charismatic presence. Even in childhood, July Leos often find themselves in performance-oriented activities, school plays, competitive sports, debate teams, anywhere their natural star quality can shine. What's fascinating about July Leos is how they experience being in the spotlight, not as draining or performance-based, but as energizing and authentic. While others might feel exposed under public attention, July Leos often report feeling most themselves when they're being witnessed. Their energy expands to fill available space, and they bloom under observation like their celestial ruler, the sun. However, this doesn't mean July Leos are merely attention seekers. Their desire for the spotlight comes from a genuine place of wanting to share their warmth, creativity, and joy with others. At their best, they use their natural stage presence to uplift those around them, to create memorable experiences, and to bring people together through their magnetic personality. August Leos, by comparison, are far more selective with their audience. They don't need or want everyone's attention, just the right people's attention. An August Leo might remain relatively quiet in large group settings, but become animated and expressive in more intimate gatherings with those they trust. This selectivity isn't about shyness or insecurity, it's about valuing quality of connection over quantity of admirers. The August Leo's approach to attention resembles a private exhibition rather than a public performance. They prefer to shine intensely among those they deem worthy of their radiance, creating deeper impressions on a smaller number of people. This doesn't diminish their Leo pride or confidence. They simply express it in more targeted ways. This selectivity extends to how August Leos present their accomplishments and talents. Where a July Leo might naturally showcase their abilities, an August Leo often underplays their achievements until the perfect moment presents itself. They understand the power of strategic revelation, of letting others discover their brilliance gradually rather than announcing it up front. The August Leo's relationship with attention often evolves throughout their lifetime. In youth, they might struggle with the seeming contradiction between their inner Leo desire for recognition and their more selective approach to receiving it. As they mature, they typically become more comfortable with their unique style, realizing that commanding deep respect from the few can be more satisfying than winning casual admiration from the many. Both July and August Leos care about making an impact, but they measure this impact differently. For July Leos, the immediate response, the laughter, applause, or engagement of others, provides validation of their effect. August Leos tend to measure their impact over longer time frames, finding satisfaction in how their influence continues to resonate with others even in their absence. This difference in spotlight relationship perfectly sets up the third distinction in our exploration: how these two Leo types attract and engage with others in their social circles. While July Leos cast a wide net with their infectious enthusiasm, drawing people effortlessly into their orbit, August Leos create a magnetic field of mystery that makes others work harder to earn their warmth and approval, a dynamic that shapes their entire approach to relationship building. The third difference, how July and August Leos attract others, reveals one of the most fascinating contrasts between these two expressions of the lion sign. July Leos possess an infectious enthusiasm that naturally draws people into their orbit without conscious effort. Their social magnetism works like a bright flame on a cold night. People simply gravitate toward their warmth instinctively, often before any words are exchanged. This infectious enthusiasm manifests in the July Leo's approach to virtually everything. When they discover a new restaurant, book, or hobby, they don't just enjoy it. They celebrate it with such genuine passion that others can't help but become curious. Their eyes light up when discussing their interests. Their voice carries an unmistakable excitement, and their body language radiates an energy that makes even mundane topics seem thrilling. This quality makes July Leos natural influencers long before social media gave a name to such abilities. The July Leo's enthusiasm stems from an almost childlike ability to find joy and wonder in everyday experiences. Where others might see an ordinary sunset, they see a magnificent canvas of colors worth stopping to admire. Where others hear a catchy song, they discover an anthem that demands to be shared. This perspective is tremendously attractive to others who may have lost touch with such spontaneous appreciation in their own lives. What makes this enthusiasm so magnetic is its authenticity. July Leos rarely manufacture excitement for effect. They genuinely feel things intensely and express those feelings without filters. This emotional honesty creates an environment where others feel permission to be equally expressive and enthusiastic, which can be incredibly liberating for those who typically restrain their emotional responses. The July Leo's friendship circle often resembles a solar system, with them at the center and various friends orbiting at different distances. They tend to collect diverse groups of people, creating unlikely connections between individuals who might never have met otherwise. At parties, they're natural connectors, introducing people with an intuitive sense of who might enjoy knowing each other. "You two should talk" is a phrase frequently heard from July Leos. Their warmth is immediate and freely given, offered without expectation of return. July Leos will often compliment strangers, strike up conversations in elevators, or help someone struggling with packages without a second thought. This generosity of spirit creates a trail of goodwill behind them, with people remembering their interactions fondly long afterward. August Leos, by fascinating contrast, exhibit a more magnetic mystery that makes others work harder to earn their approval and friendship. Rather than the immediate warmth of their July counterparts, August Leos project an aura of intriguing depth that creates curiosity. People find themselves wanting to discover what lies beneath the composed exterior of an August Leo, what thoughts, feelings, and perspectives they might be keeping in reserve. This quality of magnetic mystery doesn't make August Leos unapproachable. Quite the opposite. They're often excellent listeners who make others feel truly seen and heard, creating an immediate sense of significance in their interactions. However, while they give others their full attention, they simultaneously maintain a certain inscrutability about themselves, revealing personal information selectively and strategically. The August Leo's social circle tends to be smaller but deeper than that of the July Leo. They form fewer casual acquaintanceships and more profound bonds, investing their considerable emotional resources in relationships they deem worthy of long-term cultivation. When an August Leo declares someone a friend, it carries significant weight. They don't bestow that title lightly. What makes their mystery so compelling is the glimpses of warmth and passion that occasionally shine through their more reserved demeanor. In August, Leo might maintain a composed expression throughout a conversation, and then suddenly offer a brilliant insight or a surprisingly vulnerable observation that reveals the depth of their thinking. These moments feel like precious gifts to those who receive them, creating a desire to experience more such revelations. August Leos understand, perhaps instinctively, the power of selective revelation. By not immediately displaying all facets of their personality, they create a dynamic where others feel they've earned something special when allowed closer access to the August Leo's inner world. This selective approach doesn't stem from manipulation, but from a natural inclination toward privacy and a desire for meaningful rather than superficial connections. The fourth key difference between July and August, Leos reveals itself in their emotional landscapes, creating distinctly different experiences for those who form close relationships with them. July Leos tend toward expressive vulnerability, with their hearts proudly worn on their sleeves for all to see. What you see is what you get with them. Their emotional life is an open book with bold, colorful illustrations on every page. This emotional transparency manifests in how July Leos process both positive and challenging feelings. When happy, they radiate joy without reservation, their faces illuminated with genuine delight that can transform the atmosphere of an entire room. Their laughter is uninhibited, their expressions of affection generous and demonstrative. A July Leo in love might write poetry, plan elaborate surprises, or simply declare their feelings publicly without fear of judgment. When facing difficult emotions, July Leos typically process them externally. They might vent passionately, shed tears without embarrassment, or express frustration with dramatic flair. Rather than viewing this as emotional immaturity, it's more accurate to understand it as emotional honesty. They simply don't see the purpose in disguising or downplaying their authentic feelings. This emotional openness creates a particular kind of safety in relationships with July Leo. Their partners and close friends never have to wonder where they stand or decode subtle cues about the July Leo's feelings. The clarity of their emotional expression eliminates guesswork and creates relationships built on straightforward communication rather than inference or assumption. The July Leo's emotional vulnerability extends to how they process criticism or perceived rejection. When hurt, they rarely hide their wounded feelings behind a mask of indifference. Instead, they'll directly address what's bothering them, seeking resolution rather than nursing private grudges. This approach can sometimes lead to dramatic confrontations, but it also prevents the buildup of unresolved tensions that might damage relationships over time. Behind this emotional expressiveness lies the July Leo's fundamental belief in the value of authentic self-expression. They tend to view emotional restraint as a form of dishonesty, both to themselves and others. Their philosophy might be summarized as, why pretend to feel differently than you do? This perspective creates relationships characterized by emotional immediacy and directness. August Leos present a fascinating contrast in their emotional landscape. They guard their deepest feelings behind a composed exterior, revealing their true emotional depth only to their most trusted inner circle. And August, Leo might appear calm and collected in situations that would visibly affect others, maintaining a dignified composure that reveals little of their internal experience. This emotional containment doesn't indicate a lack of feeling, quite the opposite. August Leos often experience emotions with tremendous intensity, but process them internally before deciding what to share with others. They value emotional self-sufficiency and typically prefer to work through challenging feelings privately before discussing them, if they choose to discuss them at all. The August Leo's emotional world resembles a deep well rather than an open book. The surface might appear still and reflective, while currents of feeling run powerfully beneath. Those privileged enough to be invited into an August Leo's emotional confidence often express surprise at the depth and complexity of their inner life, which contrasts with their more measured external presentation. This approach to emotion creates a different kind of intimacy in relationships with August Leos. Rather than the immediate emotional transparency offered by their July counterparts, August Leos build trust gradually, revealing deeper layers of vulnerability as evidence of growing closeness. When an August Leo shares a personal fear, secret hope, or childhood memory, it represents a significant milestone in the relationship, a deliberate lowering of carefully maintained emotional boundaries. The August Leo's reluctance to display emotional vulnerability doesn't stem from fear or insecurity, but from a belief in the value of emotional discernment. They see feelings as precious resources to be shared judiciously, rather than broadcast indiscriminately. This selective emotional revelation makes their close relationships particularly meaningful, as those in their inner circle understand the significance of being trusted with an August Leo's true feelings. These contrasting emotional approaches, the expressive vulnerability of July Leos and the guarded depth of August Leos, create distinctly different relationship experiences. Relationships with July Leos tend to develop quickly, with high emotional intensity from the start, while connections with August Leos typically build more gradually, but with remarkable durability once established. Both approaches have their unique strengths, reflecting the different ways these two Leo types navigate their emotional worlds. This difference in emotional landscape naturally influences how July and August Leos approach challenges and obstacles, which leads us to our fifth key distinction, the fifth difference. July and August Leos reveal their distinct solar signatures most dramatically when facing life's challenges and obstacles. July Leos approach challenges with bold, sometimes impulsive courage that epitomizes the fiery heart of their zodiac sign. When confronted with an obstacle, their first instinct is to charge forward with confidence that borders on audacity, trusting their natural abilities to carry them through any difficulty. This approach manifests in how July Leos make decisions, often quickly and based on intuitive feeling rather than exhaustive analysis. They possess a remarkable ability to act decisively in situations where others might become paralyzed by uncertainty or fear. A July Leo rarely suffers from analysis paralysis. Instead, they gather sufficient information to form a general impression, then leap into action with characteristic enthusiasm. The phrase, "leap before looking," captures the essence of the July Leo's approach to challenges. This doesn't mean they act recklessly or without thought, but rather that they place enormous trust in their ability to adapt and respond to circumstances as they unfold. They believe, often correctly, that opportunities are seized through swift action rather than perfect preparation. This quality makes July Leos natural entrepreneurs, performers, and leaders in situations requiring immediate response. Their courage in facing challenges stems from a deep-seated belief in their own capacity to overcome adversity. July Leos possess an almost mythic confidence in their resilience, a belief that no matter what difficulties arise, they will find a way through. This confidence isn't merely bravado, it's a powerful psychological asset that often helps them succeed where more cautious individuals might falter. When a July Leo encounters failure or setback, their response typically involves minimal dwelling on disappointment before pivoting toward the next opportunity. They possess a remarkable ability to mentally reframe failures as valuable learning experiences, extracting lessons without becoming discouraged. This resilience allows them to maintain their signature optimism even through challenging circumstances. The July Leo's approach to obstacles often involves creative improvisation. Rather than meticulously planning for every contingency, they excel at thinking on their feet and finding unexpected solutions in the moment. This adaptability stems from their comfort with uncertainty and their trust in their own resourcefulness, qualities that serve them well in dynamic environments where conditions change rapidly. August Leos, by compelling contrast, calculate their moves with strategic patience, striking only when success is practically assured. Where July Leos might charge directly at an obstacle, August Leos circle it thoughtfully, considering multiple angles of approach before committing to action. This reflective approach doesn't indicate hesitation or fear, but rather a preference for deliberate, well-considered movement. The August Leo approaches challenges with the mentality of a chess player rather than a sprinter. They naturally think several moves ahead, considering not just the immediate outcome of an action, but its potential long-term consequences. This strategic patience often allows them to identify opportunities and pitfalls that more impulsive individuals might miss, positioning them for more sustainable success. Their decision-making process typically involves thorough research and careful consideration of options. An August Leo rarely makes important choices on impulse or emotional reaction, preferring to gather comprehensive information and consult trusted advisors when appropriate. This methodical approach can sometimes appear overly cautious to others, but it frequently leads to more robust and well-conceived solutions. The patience that characterizes the August Leo's approach to challenges reflects their understanding of timing's importance. They intuitively recognize that certain actions become significantly more effective when executed at the optimal moment. Like a predator waiting for precisely the right instant to pounce, the August Leo conserves energy and maintains vigilance until circumstances align favorably. When facing adversity, August Leos display remarkable persistence. While they may take longer to commit to a course of action than their July counterparts, once committed, they demonstrate extraordinary determination. The August Leo rarely abandons a goal due to temporary setbacks, instead adjusting their strategy while maintaining focus on the ultimate objective. This quality makes them formidable competitors in any long-term endeavor. The strategic thinking of August Leos extends to how they leverage resources, both material and social. They excel at identifying and cultivating relationships that might prove valuable in addressing future challenges. An August Leo typically maintains a network of diverse connections, each cultivated with genuine interest, but also with awareness of potential strategic value. The sixth difference. The sixth distinction between July and August Leos manifests in their creative expressions, revealing fundamentally different approaches to the artistic impulse that runs strong in all Leo personalities. July. Leos often create through spontaneous, passionate outbursts of artistic energy that emerge like sudden summer thunderstorms, powerful, electric, and impossible to ignore. This spontaneous creativity appears in how July Leos approach artistic projects. They might be seized by inspiration at unexpected moments, waking in the middle of the night to write poetry, abandoning planned activities to pursue a sudden musical idea, or transforming a casual gathering into an impromptu performance. Their creative process resembles a lightning strike more than a carefully tended fire, with ideas arriving in brilliant flashes that demand immediate expression. The passionate quality of the July Leo's creativity infuses their work with emotional resonance that often affects audiences powerfully. Whether they're painting, performing, writing, or designing, their creations carry an emotional signature that feels authentic and unfiltered. This emotional transparency allows others to connect deeply with their artistic expression, recognizing in it the universal experiences of human feeling. July Leos typically embrace artistic risk-taking, preferring bold expression to safe choices. They're often drawn to dramatic contrasts, vivid colors, and powerful statements in their creative work. Subtlety may not be their natural mode, but their willingness to make strong artistic choices frequently results in memorable, distinctive creations that stand out in their originality and impact. The immediacy of the July Leo's creative process means they often work in bursts of intense productivity, followed by periods of creative rest. During these productive phases, they may forget to eat, sleep, or attend to practical matters as they become completely absorbed in their artistic flow. This immersive approach frequently yields remarkable results, but can be challenging to sustain over extended periods. For July Leos, creativity serves as a primary mode of self-expression and connection. Through their art, whether formal or informal, they communicate aspects of their experience and perspective that might be difficult to articulate through ordinary conversation. Their creative work often becomes an extension of their larger-than-life personalities, carrying their distinctive energy even when they're not physically present. August Leos channel their creativity through more disciplined, refined approaches that reveal their perfectionist tendencies. Where the July Leo might produce a painting in a single impassioned session, the August Leo more typically develops their work methodically over time, refining and revisiting until each element meets their exacting standards. This disciplined creativity manifests in the meticulous attention to detail characteristic of August Leo artists. They possess an extraordinary ability to focus on the minutiae of their work, the precise word choice in a manuscript, the exact shade in a color palette, the subtle nuance in a musical phrase. This focus on refinement often results in work of exceptional sophistication and technical excellence. The perfectionist tendencies of August Leos can make them appear slower in their creative production compared to their July counterparts. However, this measured pace typically yields work of remarkable depth and durability. An August Leo would rather produce one exceptional piece than multiple adequate ones, understanding intuitively that quality endures where quantity may be forgotten. August Leos often approach creativity with specific conceptual frameworks that guide their artistic choices. Their work frequently contains layers of meaning and symbolism, rewarding repeated engagement and thoughtful analysis. This conceptual depth reflects their natural inclination toward intellectual engagement with their creative process, considering not just aesthetic impact, but thematic coherence. The refined aesthetic sensibility of August Leos typically favors elegance over flash, sophisticated subtlety over dramatic statement. Their creative work often exhibits a sense of balance and proportion that feels both timeless and contemporary. This aesthetic restraint doesn't indicate a lack of passion, but rather a channeling of creative energy through carefully considered formal structures. For August Leos, the creative process serves as a means of exploring complexity and nuance. Their art, whether visual, literary, musical, or otherwise, often examines multiple perspectives on a subject, resisting simplistic interpretations in favor of more layered understandings. This intellectual depth makes their creative work particularly rewarding for those willing to engage with its complexity. These contrasting creative approaches, the spontaneous passion of July Leos and the disciplined refinement of August Leos, produce distinctly different artistic results while drawing from the same fundamental Leo creative wellspring. Both approaches have their particular strengths. July Leos excel at creating work of immediate emotional impact, while August Leos produce art of exceptional depth and staying power. This difference in creative expression naturally connects to how July and August Leos demonstrate loyalty and commitment in their relationships, which forms our seventh key distinction, the seventh difference. The loyalty of a Leo is legendary in astrological circles, a defining trait of the sign regardless of birth month. However, July and August Leos express this fundamental quality through markedly different approaches. July Leos show their loyalty through grand declarations and protective displays that leave no doubt about their devotion to those they care about. When a July Leo considers someone part of their inner circle, they become fierce advocates and protectors. They'll publicly defend their loved ones without hesitation, often with a dramatic flair that makes their loyalty unmistakable to anyone witnessing it. A July Leo friend might confront someone who speaks poorly of you at a party, correct misconceptions about you in group settings, or passionately argue your case when you're not present to defend yourself. This protective quality emerges from the July Leo's natural courage combined with their deep emotional investment in their relationships. They view loyalty as an active principle, something demonstrated through bold actions rather than merely felt internally. For the July Leo, being loyal means showing up vocally and visibly when their loved ones need support or defense. Their grand declarations of loyalty take various forms depending on the relationship. In romantic partnerships, July Leos often express their commitment through significant gestures, elaborate anniversary celebrations, meaningful gifts, or public affirmations of their feelings. In friendships, they might organize special events to celebrate milestones or make extraordinary efforts to be present during important moments in their friends' lives. The July Leo's approach to loyalty contains an element of performative display, but this doesn't make it insincere. Rather, they believe that meaningful feelings deserve external expression, that loyalty kept private is somehow incomplete. This perspective leads them to demonstrate their devotion in ways that can be witnessed and recognized by others, creating a public record of their commitment. When a July Leo feels betrayed, their response is typically immediate and unmistakable. They might confront the perceived betrayal directly, expressing their hurt and disappointment with characteristic emotional transparency. While they can forgive significant transgressions from those they truly care about, earning back their trust requires genuine accountability and visible effort toward making amends. The protective displays of July Leos extend beyond defending against criticism or attack. They frequently use their social influence, connections, or resources to create opportunities for those they care about. A July Leo might recommend a friend for a job opening, introduce a family member to a valuable professional contact, or use their platform to showcase a loved one's talents or accomplishments. August Leos demonstrate their loyalty through consistent, unwavering presence during both celebrations and hardships. Rather than grand gestures or public declarations, they prove their dedication through reliability and steadfastness over time. An August Leo might say relatively little about their commitment, but their actions speak volumes through their dependable support. This consistent presence manifests in the August Leo's remarkable ability to show up when needed, often without being explicitly asked. They possess an intuitive sense for when their loved ones require support and make themselves available accordingly. An August Leo friend might appear at your door with practical help during a difficult time, maintain regular contact during periods of transition or stress, or quietly handle logistics to ease your burden during a personal crisis. The unwavering quality of the August Leo's loyalty emerges from their natural persistence combined with their selective approach to relationships. Having chosen their inner circle carefully, they commit to these connections with extraordinary determination. An August Leo rarely abandons a relationship due to temporary difficulties or changing circumstances, understanding that meaningful bonds require maintenance through challenging periods. Where July Leos might express loyalty through visible defensive actions, August Leos more typically demonstrate their commitment through reliable practical support. They're the friends who help you move apartments without complaint, care for your pets during emergencies, or patiently listen to your problems without judgment at 3 a.m. These pragmatic expressions of care may lack dramatic flair, but create a foundation of trust that deepens over time. The August Leo's approach to loyalty involves significant personal investment, but minimal public display. They may say less, but show up more consistently than many other personality types. This quiet reliability can sometimes cause their dedication to be underestimated by those accustomed to more demonstrative expressions of loyalty. But those who know August Leos well understand the exceptional depth of their commitment. When an August Leo feels betrayed, their response typically involves withdrawal rather than confrontation. They might become temporarily distant while processing their feelings privately before deciding how to proceed. This measured approach doesn't indicate a lack of hurt, but rather a preference for responding thoughtfully rather than reactively to relationship challenges. The loyalty of August Leos, once established, demonstrates remarkable durability. They can maintain connections over decades despite geographical distance or infrequent contact, picking up relationships where they left off with minimal adjustment. This capacity for long-term commitment makes August Leos particularly valuable in friendships and partnerships that require sustained investment through life's inevitable changes. The eighth difference. The eighth and final distinction between July and August, Leos reveals itself in their contrasting leadership styles, reflecting fundamentally different approaches to guiding and influencing others. July. Leos lead through charismatic inspiration that motivates through excitement and possibility, creating enthusiasm for their vision through the sheer force of their passionate conviction. The charismatic leadership of July Leos draws others into their orbit naturally, often without formal authority or designated positions. Their ability to articulate compelling visions of what could be possible inspires others to join their causes, projects, or movements based on emotional resonance rather than logical persuasion. A July Leo leader doesn't just present a plan, they paint a vivid picture of a desirable future that others can feel and imagine themselves participating in. This inspirational approach manifests in the July Leo's communication style when in leadership roles. They frequently use evocative language, compelling stories, and emotionally resonant examples to convey their ideas. Rather than focusing exclusively on data or practical details, they connect initiatives to larger purposes, helping others see the meaningful why behind proposed actions or changes. July Leos excel at energizing groups through their natural enthusiasm and expressive optimism. In challenging situations where team morale might falter, they can reinvigorate collective motivation through their refusal to be discouraged and their ability to reframe setbacks as valuable learning opportunities. This quality makes them particularly effective leaders during periods of change or uncertainty, when emotional resilience becomes crucial. The leadership presence of July Leos tends to be highly visible and personally identified with their initiatives. They often become the face of their projects, comfortable being prominently associated with their vision and willing to personally advocate for their ideas in public forums. This visibility stems not from ego, but from their natural comfort with being seen and their willingness to stand firmly behind their convictions. July, Leo leaders typically create vibrant, expressive organizational cultures that value enthusiasm, creativity, and bold action. They inspire by example, demonstrating the passionate engagement they hope to see from others. In meetings led by July Leos, you'll typically find animated discussion, encouraged participation, and an emphasis on possibility rather than limitation. Their leadership style particularly excels at launching new initiatives, creating momentum for change, and inspiring others to stretch beyond perceived limitations. The July Leo leader shines brightest when painting the vision that gets others enthusiastic to follow, when helping people see possibilities they might not have recognized without that charismatic spark. August Leos command respect through their grounded wisdom and quiet authority that others naturally follow without needing to be convinced. Rather than inspiring through charismatic display, they lead through demonstrated competence, thoughtful decision-making, and consistent ethical behavior that builds deep credibility over time. This quiet authority manifests in the August Leo's measured communication style in leadership contexts. They typically speak less frequently, but with greater impact, offering carefully considered perspectives that cut through complexity to identify core issues. When an August Leo leader finally weighs in on a discussion, others often fall silent to listen, recognizing the value of their thoughtful analysis. August Leos lead by example rather than proclamation, demonstrating through their actions the standards and values they expect from others. They rarely ask their teams to make sacrifices they wouldn't make themselves, and typically work as diligently as anyone in their organization. This authentic modeling creates a powerful foundation for moral authority that inspires genuine respect rather than mere compliance. The leadership presence of August Leos tends to be felt more than seen, a stabilizing influence that provides security during uncertainty and clarity during confusion. They may not be the most visible figure in every meeting, but their influence shapes the direction and quality of collective work through consistent guidance and well-timed interventions. August Leo leaders excel at building sustainable systems and cultures that continue functioning effectively even in their absence. Rather than creating dependency on their personal presence or charisma, they develop robust structures, clear principles, and capable team members who can carry forward initiatives independently. This approach stems from their strategic thinking and long-term perspective on organizational success. Their leadership style particularly shines in complex situations, requiring nuanced judgment, ethical navigation of competing priorities, or steady guidance through extended challenges. The August Leo leader builds the kind of trust that enables others to follow them through difficult terrain, not because they promise an easy journey, but because they've demonstrated the wisdom needed to find the best available path. These contrasting leadership approaches, the charismatic inspiration of July Leos and the grounded authority of August Leos, represent different but equally valuable styles of guiding others. The most effective leaders of either type recognize and appreciate these differences, sometimes adapting elements of both approaches depending on what specific situations require. As we conclude our exploration of these 8 fascinating differences between July and August Leos, we recognize that while the distinctions are meaningful, they exist along a spectrum rather than as absolute categories. Individual Leos may display characteristics of both patterns depending on other astrological factors in their birth charts, their life experiences, and their personal development. These nuanced distinctions remind us of astrology's beautiful complexity, how the specific timing of our birth within a sign can create subtle but significant variations in how we express our fundamental solar energy. Whether you're a majestic July Leo or a mysterious August Leo, your unique celestial blueprint shapes how you navigate the world with your leonine nature. So there you have it, 8 fascinating differences between July and August Leos that reveal the beautiful complexity within this magnificent fire sign. What we've discovered throughout this exploration is that the timing of birth within the Leo season creates subtle but significant variations in how these individuals express their fundamental solar energy. We've seen how July Leos embody that classic royal presence with grand gestures and dramatic flair, while August Leos channel their solar power into a more focused ambition that burns with steady intensity. We've observed July Leos instinctively gravitating toward the spotlight, thriving in environments where all eyes are on them, while their August counterparts are more selective with their audience, preferring to shine intensely among those they deem worthy of their radiance. We've explored how July Leos possess an infectious enthusiasm that naturally draws people into their orbit with warmth that's immediate and freely given, while August Leos exhibit a magnetic mystery that makes others work harder to earn their approval and friendship. We've contrasted the expressive vulnerability of July Leos, who wear their hearts proudly on their sleeves, with the composed exterior of August Leos, who guard their deepest feelings, revealing their true emotional depth only to their most trusted inner circle. Our journey has uncovered how July Leos approach challenges with bold, sometimes impulsive courage, leaping before looking, while August Leos calculate their moves with strategic patience, striking only when success is practically assured. We've examined the creative differences between these two expressions of Leo energy, July Leos creating through spontaneous, passionate outbursts of artistic energy, while August Leos channel their creativity through more disciplined, refined approaches that reveal their perfectionist tendencies. We've distinguished between the loyalty of July Leos, shown through grand declarations and protective displays, and the dedication of August Leos, demonstrated through consistent, unwavering presence during both celebrations and hardships. And finally, we've contrasted the leadership styles of these two Leo types. July Leos leading through charismatic inspiration that motivates through excitement and possibility, while August Leos command respect through their grounded wisdom and quiet authority. What makes these distinctions so valuable is how they help us understand ourselves and those around us with greater nuance and appreciation. Whether you're a Leo yourself or have important Leos in your life, recognizing these subtle differences can transform how you navigate your relationships and your personal growth journey. If you found this exploration illuminating, we're just scratching the surface of the zodiacal wisdom we share here at Secret of the Zodiac. Our channel is dedicated to uncovering the deeper truths of astrology that most mainstream sources never discuss. We go beyond basic sun sign descriptions to reveal the fascinating nuances that make each astrological placement unique. This is why we need your support to continue bringing you this exclusive content. Hit that subscribe button right now to join our cosmic community and ensure you never miss our upcoming revelations. We're planning to explore similar birth month distinctions for every zodiac sign, plus deep dives into planetary aspects, house placements, and ancient astrological techniques rarely discussed in modern times. After subscribing, take a moment to explore our previous videos. We've covered everything from the secret strengths of each zodiac sign to compatibility insights you won't find anywhere else. Our playlists are organized to help you find exactly what resonates with your astrological journey. Let us know in the comments which type of Leo you are, July Lion or August Lion, and which of these 8 differences resonated most strongly with your experience. We read every comment and use your feedback to shape future content. Your perspectives help enrich our collective understanding of these cosmic patterns. If you found value in today's exploration, please consider supporting us through the Super Thanks feature. Your financial contribution helps cover the costs of research, production, and channel maintenance, allowing us to bring you daily astrological content rather than weekly or monthly. Even a small donation makes an enormous difference in helping us sustain this work and expand our offerings to include longer, more in-depth explorations and potentially personal readings in the future. Remember, at Secret of the Zodiac, we believe that understanding the stars helps us better understand ourselves. Your engagement with our content creates a community where this ancient wisdom can continue to evolve and enlighten. Thank you for being part of our cosmic journey. We'll see you in the stars.